my name is Alice Kent and I'm the Advanced Double Bass Tutor, and this is tutorial number 2 on Fantasia on a Theme of Thomas Tallis by Vaughan-Williams. So in this particular tutorial we're going to be working on thinking about our imagination and where the music takes us. We're going to be looking at the pizzicatos that we have to play, phrasing them and how we make a nice sound with pizzicatos. We're going to be looking at a couple of little moments shifting across our instrument. We did that last tutorial, but there's another little passage that I want to go over where we have to think of shifting and bow distribution. We will be experimenting with the sound we make on our instruments, looking at organising our time and practice, and breathing and thinking about how we interpret Karina's gestures, just like we did last time, but this time with pizzicatos. Hopefully you've all done lots of practice on various things from the last tutorial, like interpreting the gesture, the opening and making a gorgeous soft sound, and making a fuller sound at letter C. So let's get started. I'll give you a couple of moments to get your double bass and get ready. So hopefully we're all sat comfortable with our instrument and with everything we need: bow, stool, double bass, pencil, music. So in today's tutorial I'd really like to think about our imagination and the story and what we want to communicate to our audience. After the opening, which we worked on in tutorial 1, there are pizzicatos. Simple, maybe not. The pizzicatos after the opening we have to make sure are really together, not only if we're playing in a section of double basses, but with the rest of the strings, especially the cellos. How do we do this? By breathing. Let's just try the first pizzicato entry. Now, two things to think about this pizzicato: the phrase. So let's sing it. Oh! Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. I'm not a great singer. I bet you can sing it better at home. Singing it and having an idea of how you want it to sound in your head means that it will come out when you play it. The other thing when we're looking at this pizzicato is whereabouts we're going to pluck. We could pluck really close to our left hand. Let's see what it sounds like. Try it now. For me, that is too much of a harsh, tinny, short sound. So let's try playing pizzicatos the length of the string and seeing where they sound best. And the easiest way to do this is to play a scale. Yes! Yay! We're going to play G major scale, and each note we're going to try a different part along the string. Here we go. Okay, so as I was playing that scale, I think the nicest sound was kind of in the middle. I think that was the nicest sound and the most appropriate sound for this. Experiment now on your double bass at home and see what you think. It might be somewhere different on your bass. Okay, so you've had a little experiment. We're going to do G major scale one more time but staying in the same part of the string, not moving up and down at this time, wherever you've decided is the nicest sound. I'm also going to use 2 fingers to pluck for an extra fat sound. So I'm using the fleshiest part and doubling it. Let's do that now on G major scale. Brilliant. When you're at home practicing, that is one version of a scale you could do to practice the different type of pizzicatos you can create on your instrument. Now we're going to add the sound that we've decided on. We're going to mix that with phrasing and mesh the two together, and it's going to sound beautiful. Gorgeous. Now the next section at bar 15, we have quite a long phrase of pizzicato, and it might look simple enough, but again we need to phrase it. As the bedding of the orchestra, we're going to help guide the other string players along this journey. If we played it really static with no phrasing at all, it wouldn't be interesting and it would kind of be nonsense. It'd be like I was speaking like a robot. So we're going to phrase it. And now if we add that to what Karina is gesturing at this point, we might even see that at some point she's even mouthing the pizzicatos with us. Let's see if we can play it with her. Do you think you were together? You probably were. And I can tell you something else, you're probably breathing with her too. So we're going to go for a fat sound, plucking around this area. We're going to phrase whole long lines so it makes sense and we don't sound like robots. And we're going to breathe with Karina whilst interpreting her gestures. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's worth it. And when we do everything together, it's going to sound gorgeous. And lastly, the icing on the cake will be that we're going to do left hand vibrato. And in order to make sure that when we play our pizzicatos, really, to make them really in tune, we need quite a heavy left hand. Something that I think is really important in our part to look at is letter E. And it comes back at 1 before X and 1 after X. So that's bar 211 and bar 47. The reason I say we need to have a little look at this is because we've got to shift and string cross on every note. And it's got to be really smooth and sustained, these bars. And we might feel a little bit exposed because we're left on our own on the top A flat. The trouble with this top A flat is that it might end up feeling like it's really scary and we're getting worried about tuning or something. But in actual fact, what we need to think about is the phrase and getting through the slow nice and smoothly. Let's do it now. Think about how you're going to use your bow and how smoothly your left hand is going to move in order to facilitate this gorgeous sonorous sound, smooth slurs rising. The bowing that I've decided to do here is down, down, up on the E flat, up on the F flat, then bar of X or second bar of E, all in one long slur. That bar is particularly important because we need to divide the bow up, leaving the most amount of bow that we can possibly manage for the top A flat. If we don't, we might get a wee judder where the bow doesn't quite flow properly. And it might get strangled, where in actual fact, even though we're pianissimo, it will be easier and more comfortable to play and to get in tune if we have more bow at the top. So we're going to divide the bow up. Divide the bow. Blimey, this is a long bow. It's like it's going on forever and ever. Poof, it's like the longest bow in the world. Whoa! Oh my God, it's still going. Really long. Save the bow at the beginning. And now I'm pretty much got this much left to do my A flat. If you can manage that, it's going to mean that your top A flat is going to be super gorgeous. We won't have to worry about running out of bow. We can just focus on our sound, and we've got that much bow to do it. In order to practice the shifts, I would start by doing them quite separate to check they're in tune. So, and gradually make them smoother. Whenever we have these bowed sections, like at 1 before X, think of your bow as such a fluid movement. Your right arm should feel like it's sinking into pillows. It's that slow movement. And breathe. Relax, breathe. Be aware of what your fingers are doing, your wrist is doing, your elbow is doing, your shoulder blade at the back, your back muscles all the way round to the other side of your back here. How is everything moving together to create this movement and to create this gorgeous bowing motion? If you find you're getting a bit frustrated with what seems like endless slow practice, take a tea break. Go away from the double bass, have a tea break, refresh your mind, come back to it. When you organise your practice, it's really good if you can come up with a list in your head of what you want to cover. I, in fact, make a shopping list. And it's often, it can be as short as number 1, bar X in theme of Thomas Tallis. And I will time myself and even put the cooker timer on. And then do 5 minutes or 10 minutes on whatever, just that little bar. Make sure that it's so in tune and sounds so good. I'll divide my time up and organise it carefully so I know what I'm going to do. That way I will be able to cover everything. So I'll be able to cover my orchestral part for the Benedetti Foundation sessions, but I'll also be able to cover my solo music for my teacher or for my concert or for my grandma to listen to. Okay, tutorial number 2. This week we have worked on organising our time and practice. Pizzicato and phrasing. Experimenting with your own pizzicato sound at home. Phrasing so that you're with Karina, breathing and singing a phrase. Something as simple as pizzicato lines can be so interesting, and we must sing the whole phrase and communicate our story or our imagination to the people listening and watching. We've looked really closely at shifting around letter E and X, keeping this motion really smooth, and how to practice that. Thinking about bow distribution and the motion of bowing and how we create the best bowing motion we can. That's all for tutorial 2. Have a great week. Enjoy practice, because we're getting closer to recording our Vaughan-Williams.